Well, hello there. Another week, another batch analysis. So, this time I'm making it on Sunday because yesterday I was a little bit busy. So, I think this week is going to be quite insightful for me in a couple of ways. It wasn't a very good week, and it wasn't a very good week because of one specific thing, and that is that I took quite a few trades. I think I have around how many? Okay, this is 4, 8, 12, 15 trades. It's quite a lot. And there are just two trades where I hesitated a little bit and I missed them. And those two trades ended up being the big winners, which fucking sucks. And before I get into it, I have a couple of thoughts in regards to this. Uh, so I know this is forward test still, right? I'm not on my challenge. Thank God, by the way. I'm so happy I didn't take the challenge 3 weeks ago as originally intended, and not any week after because I was just like, hey, these markets kind of suck right now, so I will start my challenge once the markets look promising a little bit. And I guess that's going to be very closely tied to the overall fundamental situation, even though we're not really looking at that. But it's pretty clear that the markets are kind of uncertain right now, especially thanks to the trumpet, right? But what I have noticed is that during these sideways markets, it's really not worth trading too much. Like I saw a lot of discussion going on in trade talk regarding EVC versus EVCC, as in having another context time frame to really uh, potentially stay out of sideways markets and stay out of chop. I think there's a lot of value in that. But even then, if I had performed perfectly in these last couple of weeks, I would have done very, very well, right? So last 3 weeks over here. So this week I ended up in minus. If I prefer sorry if I performed perfectly, I would be up +6. This one -9. Had I performed well, it would be -5. Okay, still not positive, but much better. This week over here -6 almost. Had I performed well, +4. And this week would be a big plus if I had hit those two winners. So I guess the point is there's always winners if you follow good momentum. But I know that I'm in a forward test, and therefore, whenever there is something that is like it's a trade that's kind of in a gray area, it's like an edge case or whatever, I really want to take that trade, right? For that reason that it's demo, it's just tested. It's not necessarily uh, live trading with real risk. The reason why I want to do this is because I want to feel and understand why taking these trades is not necessarily good. So seeing these things over here, seeing the negative numbers, it's actually quite a good learning experience because it shows me why these trades were not necessarily good. And another thing, and this is why this week really sucked for me, is that even though I have this mindset that I want to be taking these gray area trades, I'm okay with taking them because each loss is capped. Each loss is just a -1, and that's okay, you know? Like it's just a -1. It's not a big deal. But what is a big deal is when I don't take a trade which did meet all my criteria and it ends up being a winner. That really hurts. Especially the higher your average winner is, like when you have a fixed TP system like me, right? When you take full profit at 6R, naturally your win rate is going to go down. There's this inverse correlation between win rate and risk to reward. The higher your risk to reward is, the lower your win rate is going to be, which ultimately makes the winners that much more uncommon or rare, so to say. So when you miss it, it fucking sucks. Whereas if you take a loss, it's always going to be a -1, or maybe a little bit more if you get chopped up and get slipped or some stuff. But usually it's just gonna be a -1. So that's how I want to start this because I had quite a lot of -1s. You can see that here, and I had 3 winners overall. I took one at the very beginning of the week, that's +6, and then there were just two trades that I didn't take because I hesitated a little bit, and those ended up being the big winners. And had I taken those, this would be a big profitable week for me, and I would almost be out of DD, right? So that kind of sucks. And if we take a look at the equity curve here, I already updated it. So currently, this is not looking too good. Like I'm in a like -20 RDD, but overall, this still looks like a sideways market, and naturally so, right? Like if we look at the markets, they are generally pretty sideways. Like I'm sitting at the PC from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Not all the time, of course, but when something is moving, that's generally uh, when I'm trading. And I see the low time frames. I see all the time frames, right? Because like if you look at my trading view, I'm sure you guys know, like my trading view is this. Oh, this is loading for fucking ages. What the hell? So I see all of this in front of me, and I can see how money is or is not coming in. And generally, I can see how things are going mostly sideways. And whenever a move starts, it just doesn't follow through. And I think it just makes sense given the current situation in the market where it's relatively dry. I guess people are not participating as much. And yeah, we can see that. And because I'm with an EBC where 1 hour is kind of my highest and I don't necessarily filter out even more, when markets go sideways, my equity curve is also going to go sideways because this is the representation of it. Yet, yet, if I performed perfectly as I would want to perform and only take my perfect trades, I would still be profitable, which is also very important to realize. So yeah, that's just something that I wanted to quickly talk about. But now let's get into the trades. So first off, I have a win on Dirt30. So Dirt30 was a market that I was following a lot. So let's take a look. Okay, so here on the 1 hour, we have a pretty clear bullish market. Here you can see that was some kind of stage one over here that we broke out of. And I remember back here, I drew this box and I really, really wanted to see an expansion out of it as to confirm a reaccumulation, aka a DMV, which sets the direction, right? So I started being bullish right here. And then it continued. You can see I took a couple of trades over here, but overall, right, this is pretty bullish market, and I would say this is a good looking MMB, and the expectation is that this will hopefully continue. I wouldn't say this is overextended. So taking a look at the 6 minute, here I'm basically just looking for some good momentum, and good momentum shows up over here. I think we can pretty much see that on the 1 minute. Nope, we can't. I didn't zoom out enough, but that's all right. So here it goes higher and it pulls back, goes below the EMA, so loses its momentum cycle. So I instantly expect some kind of stage one to happen over here, and as it breaks out, I would be willing to trade an MMB over here, which is pretty much exactly what I'm gonna do, right? So here I can see that this is the big stage one, and then eventually it breaks out. And here, before I start trading, what's very, very important to me is how does this stage two look like? And also that's like on all the time frames. How does this stage two look like? And how does this stage two look like? So this stage two over here looks good. What's important to me is that there is imbalance, that price, whenever it goes, it doesn't come back to mitigate necessarily. And usually, whenever it pulls back, it stays in the upper 50% of the impulse, right? So if this is the impulse, in order for it to remain bullish and not mitigate everything, it should stay above the 50 in general. So this is good. This is good. This is good as well, I would say. And then it breaks down. So here, I'm simply looking for new momentum. This one looks very good as well. Clear imbalance left behind, valid demand zones, big chunky candles, acceleration away. This is really nice. So here breaks down. I'm not necessarily looking at the EMAs so much anymore. Like the EMAs, the way they are formed, it really it isn't too much correlated to price action itself. It literally just averages out the the last 10, 20, whatever candles, right? What's really, really important to me these days is that the impulse, the pullback doesn't pull back too much and it stays in the upper 50%, right? So this, it's somewhere around here. So as long as we're above, I'm generally bullish. So here it pulls back and okay, so this is a 10-second entry. So within this pullback, right, I can see this beautiful stage 2, and within this pullback, I'm very simply looking for a buy button, a small little pause, and a continuation. And that's pretty much exactly what happens over here, and the same shit over here, right? This impulse, as long as it doesn't pull back deeper than this, I'm very, very happy to take it. And this goes sideways a little bit in the upper, like, I don't know what this is, 20%. Very bullish looking, very good. I set my buy stop, and this taps me in and pretty much instantly delivers. This was a beautiful, beautiful trade. I really like it a lot. So let's mark it up. So here, good momentum cycle. Make it smaller. Okay, good momentum cycle. Here, generally good momentum. Definitely good momentum over here. And this DMB was just, I would say that was perfect. So I really, really like this trade. Ooh, gonna give this one a perfect. I would take this trade anytime again. So let me label that up. Everything is yellow here, just the way I like it. And regarding management, so here, this was just chopping around a little bit, but as it breaks above this high, I thought, okay, this is showing me enough strength. If this comes back, I should not be in this trade anymore. And then, as it goes even higher a little bit, I move completely risk-free. And yeah, beautiful +6. So management was perfect as well. And yep, that was perfect. Moving on. I continue following JER30, but this one I didn't take. But let's take a look at it anyway. So, same story exactly over here. Here we develop a little bit more, right? The first trade was over here. Actually, let me go to the 1 minute. That's going to be nicer. The first trade was over here. Here we continue higher, and we pull back beautifully. This is the impulse, right? The 50 would be somewhere over here, I guess. So this is still very much bullish. Didn't pull back too much. This stage 2 is an absolute beauty, which we can see even better on the 10-second. Like this stage 2 over here is so, so nice, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot of this and I'm going to put this to last week's lesson. I remember I had a beautiful lesson in this regard. Let me just find it. Actually, what I can do is I can simply filter out for lessons. Tag. What? Hello? Oh, okay. Lesson. Okay. And here I'm simply going to add it to this because I want some more examples of what beautiful stage 2s look like. And this stage 2 is just, it's so nice. Anyway, back to business. So here it pulls back, right? And I'm looking for the exact same thing. I'm looking for a strong momentum candle or candles, whatever, a strong impulse that pulls back, not necessarily too deep, not deeper than the 50. So this one starts over here. I would say 50 somewhere over here. This remains in the upper portion of the impulse. So I set my buy stop. Well, I don't actually because I didn't take it. And I don't really understand why I didn't take it. I was risk-free on this trade, so I was totally valid to take this trade, but for some reason I didn't, and I think that was just silly of me. I really, really don't remember why that was, but I should have taken this 100% because this trade was absolutely beautiful, and you can see it taps me in and reaccumulates a little bit. Maybe there's an argument to be made that there was a trade somewhere over here. Let me take a look. Okay, there was nothing here, nothing here. Uh, nah, this is weird price action. So no entry over here, but yeah, this entry by itself was beautiful. So let me label it up. Very good momentum overall, and I would say this was a perfect DMB as well. So both of these trades were really, really nice and perfect. And management wise, this is the candle that has shown me strength away from my entry, so I reduce risk to the orange line. And then as it creates some fractal structure, like somewhere over here on this candle, I reduce my risk completely, and that's a +6. I should really add another property and maybe like feeling or whatever, and just whenever I don't take something or whenever I should basically just document how I feel about that trade, because that could be valuable information for myself. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Didn't take this one. Okay, continuing on. It's again JIR 30. Everything stays the same, right? And whoa, sorry about that. Everything stays the same. And here we are. This is where we took the trade. That delivers beautifully, and then it pulls back again to the prime area of the rising 1020. This overall impulse, I would say it's coming from somewhere over here, so it's definitely still above the 50, still very impulsive. So I'm completely valid to take a trade here. So when I take a look at the pullback over here, what do I see? I see a beautiful reaccumulation, and then eventually it pushes higher. So this entire thing is the impulse. Here it pulls back, still in the upper part of the range. So I set a buy stop, and this ends up being a break even. But that's simply because there wasn't enough juice in this trend, which was already delivering beautifully. Like this is quite a decent sprint already. So it could deliver, and sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. It doesn't really matter. What's important is that this was a very valid and good entry, and it came back to break even, so nothing's lost. Overall, I would say this was a very, very good trade. So had I taken all of these trades, this would have been the perfect beginning of the week, right? So instead of being up +18, I ended up being up just +6. And I thought that's nice. What I didn't know is that for the rest of the week, I'm not going to get a single win and a lot of -1s, which will eat up the +6 very easily, and I'll end up with no profits. I think overall I'm going to be negative on this week. But yeah, this was a perfect trade, so let me label it up. Regarding my management over here, so here it chops around a little bit. This is not enough strength for me just yet. Here it breaks into a new high, but I wasn't quite convinced yet. I wanted to see a little bit more, and as it breaks higher over here, that's when I reduce my risk. And I go risk-free after it breaks this high. And did this actually save me? I'm not sure. If I went risk-free, I would have gotten tapped out. Like you can see, this is my like spread entry, right? Where the actual long position tool is, but where I actually get tapped in with slippage and everything is this blue line. And if I reduced my risk to 0 completely, I would have gotten tapped out. Not like it matters, but this didn't deliver anyway. But many times this little rule saves me, because I want to give price this a little bit additional space to pull back, and very often that saves me and guarantees me a win. So yeah, management wise this was perfect as well. Deserves a perfect. Very nice. Beautiful beginning of the week. And then we have another trade. Is it still here? Yes, it is. So just taking a look at the V over here, or at the 6 minutes. So we had this big push, right? That's this push, and then it pulls back into the prime area of the beautifully rising 1020. So I go ahead and I take a look at the 1 minute, and I think this is a 1 minute entry. And sure enough, what I'm looking for is the overall reaccumulation. Now, I'm taking a look at this overall impulse over here, and I want this pullback to be in the upper part, basically. So the 50 is maybe somewhere over here. I wouldn't want it to fall all the way back here. That would also invalidate the momentum cycle, right? It would break below the EMAs, so it wouldn't be valid anyway. But here, this is very much valid. So looking at the entry over here, all I'm looking for is big momentum and a shallow pullback in the upper part of the range. That's exactly what happens. I take my entry here, which I think is beautiful. It taps me in and pretty much instantly fucks me up. So when this happens, whenever like there's supposed to be continuation, this is supposed to do this. And if it doesn't, and it just taps me in and instantly fucks me up, what I have noticed is that that's like the first signs of distribution, right? Because this is like the perfect area to grab liquidity to go lower. So when this happens, I have learned to like have my alarms going off that okay, this is like the first sign of potential loss of momentum. So if I want to continue trading GER30, I really, really at this point need to see new momentum. I wouldn't take another entry over here most likely. What I would wait for is something like this. Anyway, I think this was a very, very nice trade. Very nice. Beautiful -1. No problem with that whatsoever. So here we go. Overall, very good momentum in this market. And this was a perfect DMB. Okay. So let me label that up. I don't see any mistake over here. It was a good entry. Management-wise, there was really nothing to do. And I see I didn't add the -1 over here, so I'm going to do that now. Okay, good. So moving on, there was a GU trade. Oh, I see. I see. So there were only 2 wins on GER30, and then there was a GU trade, which ended up being a win. So the thing with GU, right? The thing with GU. So in my forward test, I'm forward testing on FXCM over here, and I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't, but the spread on GU is horrible. It's 12 ticks on average. Like usually it goes from 9 to 12, and I try to see how it fluctuates, and I try to use the highest, uh, like the highest value that it reaches, which is 12. So I work with the 12 tick spread here. Thing is, in the future, I definitely want to go with Ment Funding, and Ment Funding has a 2 tick spread, which is very stable. I know that from my friends who trade with Ment Funding, and it's very stable. So 2 ticks versus 12 ticks, that's a 6x difference. That's insane. So one of the big reasons why I was hesitant trading GU was because of that. Because this was a 10-second entry, and you can see, like with the 12, how much spread really matters. And I hate it when spread is more than, say, 20% of my stop loss. This was still kind of alright, and I wonder why I didn't take it. So let's take a look at the trade first and see if there was really a reason not to take it. Anyway, there is a big ongoing trend here, right? Really, really nice, really strong. Eventually, it loses its momentum cycle, so instantly, I assume there's going to be a stage 1, and all I'm looking for is basically a breakout from that stage 1. So all of this chop, I didn't trade. I didn't even look at it. I wasn't interested. But then eventually, as it forms this, let's say, resistance or sell wall, eventually it shows me, hey, I'm breaking the fuck out, right? I didn't trade here yet because I thought, yeah, this is probably just some range shenanigans. This is just going to grab liquidity and continue lower like it usually does. But here, after it broke above this level, I was like, oh, okay, well, this is interesting. If price wanted to go down, it would have done that after this, right? But here it continues higher. So I assumed, okay, this is probably bullish and it's time to pay attention. So on the 6 minute, we can see a huge, huge, beautiful stage 2 that pulls back and stays in the upper part overall, remaining very, very bullish. And here it breaks out higher. So I go to the lower time frame and I take a look. And what I see is a big, big impulse that pulls back a little bit, creates a beautiful MMB, and again stays in the upper part, very shallow pullback, just like I want to see. So here I'm very much valid to go to the 10-second and look for an entry. And here I have this entry. The zoom is not really nice, but it does make sense. So here is a big, big candle, and it pulls back, wicks the 50. I'm sure this is like the 50. Okay, so the middle point is somewhere over here, so it still remains very bullish. I would call this a shallow pullback. So I was completely, completely valid to set my buy stop and get into this trade. And here's the trade. I get tapped in, right? Goes higher. I reduce my risk somehow. Let's take a look. Okay, so Here it taps me in, fucks around a little bit, comes even lower. This is still not enough strength for me to move to break even, not even to the orange line. But then here it shows beautiful strength away from my entry, and that's where I reduce my risk a little bit. And then as it breaks above this level, I reduce risk completely. And this just beautifully delivers to +6. So honestly, I think this trade was completely valid. I should have taken it. I don't know why I didn't. This trade was perfect. So let's label it up. This is a stage 1 expansion. This is very good momentum. So is this. And this DMB is pretty much perfect. Perfect DMB. Okay. And yeah, this trade is perfect as well. Like so far, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 perfect trades in a row. But I didn't take 2 of those. And that fucking sucks. Okay. So I already know my number one lesson, which I'm going to try to stick to, is especially for someone who's trading lower time frames, like 1 minute or 10 second, I cannot have hesitation. I can't. That's what's difficult about these low time frames. I just have to be able to execute without doubting myself in any way whatsoever. It's, in my opinion, much better to take an unnecessary loss than to miss a win that I was supposed to take. That really hurts. So yeah, unfortunate. It was a beautiful trade. This was a 10-second entry, right? Yeah. So yep, that was perfect. Okay, and from now on, these were the 3 wins, and now it's all gonna be -1s and Bs. So let's take a look. Looks like I continue following GU. No, what's happening here? There's a GU trade and there's a JER30 trade. Let me see this JER30 trade real quick. Is it this one? Yes. So I switched them around a little bit. What happened over here? There was another GU trade. Let me see. Interesting. Okay. Well, let me fix that real quick. So I need to move all of this a little bit lower. I didn't include this one for some reason. So I'm just going to make a quick little fix over here. Okay. Give me the result. Looks like that taps me in and instantly fucks me up. Very nice. Okay. Now put this back where it belongs. Is that it? I guess that's it. Okay, cool. So, wait a second. What just happened? This is the same trade. Oh my god, I just derped so hard. Alright. I just derped so hard, never mind. All good. So here we are, GU -1. So it's the same story, right? Stage 1 expansion. We're over here. This is continuing higher. And here on the 1 minute, we can see, okay, this started the momentum cycle. MMB1 pushed higher, MMB2, right? Pulls back into the prime area of the rising 1020. So here I can go to the 10 second. And if there is a nice DMB, I can take it. So let's take a look. Here, here I should analyze this stage 2 over here. And although it does pull back below the EMAs a couple of times, like generally it shows big strength, right? It leaves behind demand, leaves behind imbalance and all of that stuff. So I'm very much valid to trade this. So these days My number one rule is what determines whether I will be able to trade in this area or not are two things. Number one, the preceding impulse. It needs to be strong. It needs to have big chunky candles in that direction. Ideally, small candles in the opposite direction. Lots of impulsivity, uh, shallow pullbacks, imbalance, valid demand zones. The those are like the what's it called criteria that I need to see to determine whether this is tradable or not. That's number one. And number two is the depth of the pullback. Okay, so here I would analyze from here to here and see if that pulled back too deep. And here I'm not entirely sure. I would say the 50 is somewhere around here, so this should still be very much valid. And it's also on the rising EMAs and everything, so this is looking very, very good. And here, what I'm looking for is the same stuff. I'm looking for a big impulsive move, shallow pullback, and continuation. And this, I think, is perfect. This looks very, very nice. Unfortunately, just like in a previous trade over here, what happened? It just taps me in and instantly fucks me up. And literally, like, look, look, look. This was my buy stop. Literally goes above with a few ticks and fucks me up. And honestly, that's not bad. That's a good loss. I like this trade very much. I will take it again. I think this was good. So this is stage 1 expansion. Very good momentum over here. Very good momentum on the 1 minute as well. And pretty much a perfect DMB. I really like this one. I would say this is a perfect. I can delete this. This is perfect. And I will label it that way. Good entry. Nothing to do on management. So yeah, even though it's a -1, it's a very nice trade, and I will take it again anytime. So far, so good. Like, this is really nice. Had I traded like this really and took those trades that I was supposed to, I would be so happy with myself. But we're not done yet, not even halfway through. So let's see if there are more mistakes that I will do. Next is a loss under 30. So we already know the context. The context is very good, generally moving higher along the rising EMAs and everything. So whenever on the 6 minute I see some kind of momentum, I'm very much valid to trade it. And here, sure enough, huge momentum comes in. I'm a little bit like skeptical regarding, okay, it comes from here, and where's the 50, right? The 50 would be somewhere over here, I think. And this might be a little bit too deep, but also given the fact that there are wicks over here and everything, I think it was kind of nice. So I'm gonna take a look at the 1 minute and see how it looked like. And sure enough, what we see is this. Yeah, I see. I see. So this impulse comes from here. So that's where I'm gonna measure it. And I would say that this was too deep of a pullback. This pullback was ugly. It wasn't really shallow. Like I would have liked to see it pull back to somewhere over here, and then I could have taken the trade. But this is way too deep. I don't like this whatsoever, and that this should have disqualified me from trading it. And sure enough, what it does is taps me in and pretty much instantly fucks me up. So I don't like this trade too much. I'm okay with the C. I'm okay with this. Well, I mean C. I don't know. This is a C plus or whatever. I'm okay with the 1 hour. I'm okay with the 6 minute. I do not like the 1 minute. I don't like this. This is not good. Hmm. If anything, nah, nah. This was not good. This was not good. So that's a mistake. Here, good momentum cycle. Very good momentum on the 6 minute. 1 minute. So the momentum over here was beautiful, right? So that qualified me or allowed me to trade in the follow-up reaccumulation, but the reaccumulation was just plain ugly. First of all, like a huge, huge sell into it. That's not what I want to see. I don't want to see candles like this at all. Like if this candle wasn't there, look, I'm gonna do a little bit of magic here. Whoa, 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 what happened over here? Okay, if this happened instead, I would be super, super happy to take the trade. But that's not what happened. It went much, much deeper. Too much supply in the market. Like, I should not have traded this. So, uh, yeah. Here I'm gonna say, what am I gonna say about this? Uh, mm, I'm just gonna call it deep pullback. And yeah, that will ultimately mean ugly DMB. This was a 1 minute entry. Hello? Okay. So that will ultimately mean this was a mistake. First mistake of the week. Nice. But yeah, a very, very easy fix is simply, hey, only look for pullbacks that are not deeper than the 50. Like, this was too deep. Okay. Good 60. Good 6 minutes. And ugly, bad entry. What else? Huge sell-off. And I can call it deep pullback. That's going to be a new one. But I think, well, hopefully I'm not going to use it too often, but I think it's a good one. It's important to have it. Nothing to do management-wise. So yeah, this was a mistake. Uh, ugly DMB. Deep pullback. Okay, cool, cool. Moving on. Now we have some Bitcoins over here. Cool. Let's see what happened. So, big stage one over here that had a preceding strong trend, right? So instantly when it goes sideways, I assume reaccumulation. I think I probably already started watching something over here, but then it dies off and just gets all kinds of ugly. And yeah, then I don't follow it for a long time, but eventually it starts showing some momentum and some willingness to move higher, so I start following. On the 6 minute, we have some kind of stage one probably happening over here, and then it breaks out. I would say this was a beautiful MMB, and by no means would I call this overextended, and I would say this could continue higher. On the 1 minute, somebody pressed the buy button, right? This is amazing. This is exactly what I like to see. So I'm qualified to trade this, and the pullback is in like the upper 50. This is exactly what I want to see. So taking a look at the 10 second, nothing much over here, some kind of stage one in the pullback, and then big momentum shows up. Ideally, I would buy stop over here, but then it pulls back. And here, so this is where it comes from. So the 50 is somewhere over here. And honestly, I think this wasn't too good. I think this was not too good. Like, the entry itself here should be a buy stop of this. So I don't think I was supposed to get involved over here. And even if I did, this, I think what I thought about is that I'm gonna take this whole thing as an ICI, and that's simply not how I'm supposed to trade, right? What I'm supposed to do on the 10 second is that as the 1 minute is pulling back, I'm supposed to simply take a DMB on the 10 second, and this is the initial impulse. And here it was supposed to continue, but it didn't. It lost its momentum cycle and started chopping. This to me was proof that it's chop. I should not have taken this entry. What I should have done is this momentum died off. Literally, it fizzled out. It's over. This setup should have been cancelled. So now what I was supposed to do is simply wait for a new momentum and then get involved somewhere higher. So this was definitely a mistake. I should not have taken that. And a buy stop through this would also not be valid simply because the pullback would be too long. And yeah, this wasn't good. Like, what would have been perfect was this. That was the intended entry. That's what I wanted to see, and that didn't happen. So this is ultimately a mistake. But yeah, this is a stage one expansion, very similar to the GBP USD over here. Very good momentum over here on the 6 minute. I do like that. Very good momentum on the 1 minute. but then the entry itself was simply very, very ugly. So what do I say about this? I mean, this wasn't even a DMB. This was random, not my entry, and oof, I don't know. I don't even know what to call this. It's not a DMB. Simple as that. Oh, sorry, that's a mistake. Not my setup. Oh yeah, not my setup. That's what I call it. Okay. Very good 60, very good 6, very good 1 minute, but ugly, ugly entry. I don't even know what to call it. This was just bad. Uh, yeah, whatever. I'll just keep it at this bad entry. This might have been overextended on the 6 minute is what I wrote here. Oh yeah, I remember I actually started a conversation in Trade Talk regarding this, and shout out to Marco.pro. He actually gave me the perfect answer that I wanted to hear or read, and he took a lot of Anton's trades, and he has shown me where he takes his entries, and many times his contexts look exactly like this. So by no means is this overextended, and that was very helpful. Thank you, Marco, for that. Anyway, moving on, we have gold. So gold, is this a short? Yeah, this is a short. So here we have some kind of like preceding stage to the downside. Well, this is a short, but whatever. We're gonna approach it as if it was long, right? So here I was, you can see I was waiting for this and to continue following short or continue, let's say just continue following this direction. But eventually it breaks out of this stage one and continues higher. And I know I wasn't really looking for anything here yet because I was expecting, okay, this is all going to be for the purpose of redistribution to continue lower. But as it does this, that confirms to me that this was some kind of accumulation with like a really, really big selling climax over here. Very often the selling climax can be the deepest stage, and then the stage one really happens over here without like a spring. That happens often, and I wanted to have a reaccumulation confirmed. So I wanted to see a pullback, an MMB creation, and go through. And that's what happens. So I'm like, okay, well, I could trade in this direction then. Taking a look at the 6 minute, we have a little bit of, I don't know what this is. This is some kind of wonky price action, nothing too special. But then this shows up, pulls back. This is still a little bit too deep of a pullback. I don't like it too much. But then all of a sudden, it just goes bonkers. We can see that on the 1 minute, and it pulls back in this shallow pullback, creates a beautiful MMB, and I'm totally valid to trade here. So here I take a look, right? What I'm looking for is simply this. And that's exactly what happens. Very nice shallow pullback, buy button above the rising EMAs. This is perfect. I take that trade. I think this is a 1 minute trade. I just take a look at the 10-second to see how it looks like. And this is unfortunately not enough strength for me to reduce risk just yet, and it takes me out. So I think this was a good trade. I really think I followed momentum well here, and this trade made a lot of sense. On the 1 hour, this could have totally like continued higher without any problem. So I do like this trade. So here I would call this like stage one expansion pretty much. One thing that I don't like too much is that it kind of looks like a reversal trade. So what I mean by that is I differentiate between two types of trades, right? Continuation and reversal. So let's draw a stage one. If we're talking about a reversal, it's trading in this direction after this stage one. That would be a reversal. Ideally, during moments like this, I will wait for another stage one, and as that is breaking down, that's when I'm going to start trading. That's, in my experience, the best I can do. But continuation trades are these trades, right? And those, I can start trading from here already because the preceding trend is showing me where it wants to go. So this was ultimately a reversal trade. and I think I simply should not have traded that. Like, I'm not totally sure. This is something that I still need to figure out a little bit more, because I know I trade on super low time frames, like 10 seconds and 1 minute. So it shouldn't affect me too much as long as I follow good momentum, but it's definitely something to pay attention to. Like, I have reached this conclusion many times already, that I would like to ideally trade these kind of trades and avoid these kind of trades. Avoid these until this happens, and then I can trade these, right? So maybe I could have been a little bit more patient with this one and waited for some kind of bigger sideways here and then started following here. That would be ideal, but I didn't, and I'm not really completely sure whether that's a mistake or not. It's something I'm gonna have to test probably to get an answer to. If you guys have any experience regarding this, please let me know in the comment section below. I would love to know. But anyway, moving on. This was amazing momentum here as well, and the 10-second entry itself was awesome as well. So I would say this was a really nice trade overall. I'm not going to call it perfect, because for it to be perfect, it would need to be a continuation trade on all time frames, especially the 1 hour. But I will call it good. I don't think this was necessarily a mistake. So yeah. Oh yeah, questionable context, and everything else was really good. What could I write here? Probably nothing. It's all good. Okay, moving on. We have 6 more trades to go. So another trade on Bitcoin. We already know the context of Bitcoin, right? It's breaking out over here, and now as it broke out, it pulled back, created a beautiful MMB over here, and continued higher. So taking a look at this, we have this pullback, the creation of the MMB, and here it continued higher with decent momentum, I would say. It's a little bit choppy, like you can see it mitigates a lot, like whenever it leaves the demand zone it comes to mitigate, but here it left the demand zone, for example, and didn't come to mitigate. Maybe the demand zone was here. Even then still there was some inefficiency left behind. Let's take a look at the 1 minute here. Now this is good. This impulse is good. I like it. This impulse is okay, and if we measure this entire impulse, the 50 would be somewhere over here. So this is still in prime area. This looks very good. So this is a 1 minute entry, I guess, and as it's pulling back, all I'm looking for is the buy button, shallow little pullback, and continuation. And I think this is pretty much perfect. I really like this one. Big chunky candles, demand left behind, inefficiency, right? Yeah, this looks very nice. And what happens over here? Okay, it taps me in, goes a little bit higher, doesn't quite have the juice. As you can see, I expected, okay, maybe there's going to be a sell wall here, because I can see a lot of sells coming in over here, here, here. So maybe there was an argument to be made that I should wait for this and then get involved somewhere over here. That's probably a good argument to be made, but I got involved here already in the early stage. And yeah, it got stopped here, but it's all good. It's just a break even. I didn't lose anything on that. So overall, I think this is a pretty good trade. So yeah, stage 1 expansion over here. Very good momentum overall. And this is a 1 minute entry. And I would say this is a good DMB. Like, there's an argument to be made that there is a clear resistance over here, and I should have maybe waited. Maybe. I'm not sure, but I would say this was generally a good entry. It's not perfect, because perfect would be this. That would be even better. Yeah. But yeah, I'm overall okay with it. Gonna give it a good. It passes. So, good context, good momentum, and it's a 1 minute entry, right? Yeah. And I would say it's a questionable entry. Questionable why? Uh, I'm just gonna write resistance Okay. Management wise, yeah, right after this strength showed up, I reduced risk the first time, and then I'm sure I reduced risk after it wicked over here. I just didn't include that. So yeah, this was completely risk free. Moving on, we got a JER30 trade. Let's take a look. So we had this trend, and then we flushed out heavily, right? I would say this is a reset. And now if it continues, I'm going to be happy to trade it. And here it continues, pulls back above the 10-20 rising average, creates a beautiful MMB. If we take a look at this impulse, it's definitely in the upper part, very nice shallow pullback. So ideally, I would trade some kind of continuation here. So let's take a look at the 6 minute. Big impulsive move, and then starts chopping here quite a bit. I don't like it too much. Then it pulls back, right? It creates its DMB over here already, but it's very choppy. I remember I wasn't looking for any trade here at all, but here it breaks out. And let me see this on the 1 minute. So this little line is this, and here, okay, I'm arguing this is a strong as breakout. It pulls back shallowly, and I would expect that this can continue. And I think that's a very good expectation. No problem with that. But here, yeah. I immediately wrote it down what the mistake was. So here, big stage two, right? That's the strong breakout over here. This is looking amazing. It pulls back. It's definitely above the 50. So this is still a shallow pullback. Here it comes in and I set my buy stop. And if it did something like this, it would be perfect. But this pulled back all the way. It retraced completely. And for some reason, I still took it. I didn't have this rule completely set for myself, but I do have it now. Every time I trade, I simply take my Fib tool. Like I can probably just quickly show you. So whenever there is some kind of impulse, let's say that this was my entry right now, okay, and I'm about to enter, I will always pull my Fib tool over here, and I'm only gonna trade as long as price stays in this part. It can wick this and quickly reverse, then it's okay. But the moment it breaks down here and starts trading below the 50, I'm simply done with it. So this is my new refinement. It's a very easy rule, and that's the simplicity of it is what's so beautiful and so important, that it's going to filter out all of this nonsense, and hopefully I'm never going to make this mistake again. So yeah, this was ultimately a mistake on the entry. Anyway, yes, nice MMB over here indeed. Good momentum. Okay, here I would say this is good God damn it. I would say this is good momentum as well. 1 minute strong breakout, good momentum, yes. And here MB2 pulled back too deep. Yeah, I'm just gonna call that deep pullback. And ugly DMB, which will make this a mistake. 100% easily avoidable. There is also an argument to be made that I should have moved to break even over here, but I didn't. There's an argument to be made that I should have done it over here, but I didn't also. So there's actually a lot of mistakes. Yeah, I'm also gonna include that over here. Should be risk-free. So yeah, that's rare. I very rarely make management mistakes. But yeah, this is definitely one of them. So let's get into it. Definitely good context. Good momentum. Good momentum. And bad entry. What is this? I have one. Okay, deep pullback. That's what I call it. Cool. Okay, and management-wise, I actually didn't reduce risk, so that's a mistake. I think that's like I have maybe one or two more in all of those 200 trades here, so that's very rare. But yeah, mistake. Cool. 4 more trades. Let's get into it. So JER30 following up, right? So previous trade was taken somewhere over here, I think. And this is another day, I guess. And all of this is trash. Very ugly. I remember we were talking about this with my trading buddies. We were like, nah, there's absolutely no point trading this. This is choppy, draggy, ugly, wicky, whatever you want to call it. This just dragged itself higher. It's no point trading this because no matter where you take an entry, it always comes back and taps you out at break even, at best, at worst, for a -1. But then we have an ongoing momentum cycle in the 1 hour, and then big momentum shows up, right? Here on the 1 minute, we can see, okay, huge momentum. It was already huge over here, had a small little pullback, then another big momentum. Again, shallow pullback, no matter if you take it from here, here, or even here, it's still a shallow pullback. And here I can go to the 10 second. We're in the prime area of the rising 1020, and I'm going to be looking for my DMB. So let's take a look. This is the DMB. So the stage 2 over here is very good, I would say. And here we have a strong impulse, and here it pulls back. And I'm wondering, the 50 is probably somewhere over here. And yeah, it taps below a little bit, but then continues. I think overall this is pretty good. This didn't spend any time going deeper. This is like as deep as I'm willing to take it. If it went deeper than this, I would already disqualify it. This was okay. And here it taps me in and goes to like 5.5R and doesn't follow through, which is very unlucky, but what can you do? So I think this trade was actually super nice. I like this trade a lot. So good momentum. Oh, this is wider because I know why. Because I didn't have this opened, so that makes everything wider. That's why it looks like that. Anyway, good momentum over here. Very good momentum on the 6. Very good momentum on the 1. And perfect DMB. Where's a perfect DMB? Here. And perfect DMB on the 10 second. So this was a perfect trade. I like it so much. Oop. Man, I'm so lazy. I'm literally not willing to write perfect. Okay, so let me label that up. Where are we? This one. Okay. Everything here is perfect. And the way I managed, here I could have probably already moved higher, but I should have. I reduced risk a little bit too late here. I should have reduced risk over here, but hey, that's okay. And yeah, then I didn't even include that, but I went. Oh, I see, I see. I did probably do that, but then I forgot to paste it here, and I only pasted risk-free completely because first I write reduced risk. That's when I reduce risk to the orange line, but then I write risk-free when I reduce risk completely, and I probably reduced to orange line over here, and as it broke higher, that's when I reduced completely. So yeah, that was perfect. Very nice trade, lovely. Okay, next up is another break even under 30. So we have the same story over here, very good momentum, right? And this is the initial impulse, and this one pulls back quite deep. I wonder how deep it is. It's still in the upper part, so this is okay. And then it does this, and in the bottom part, it's a little bit choppy, but that's okay. That doesn't interest me too much. Like what I would pay attention to is this line over here, because everything below this line for me is stage 1, and I would never trade here anyway, and I expect this to be choppy and wicky and all that stuff. What's important to me is how it looks over here. And here, this is a very beautiful impulse that pulls back to the rising 1020, shallow pullback in the upper 50. This is perfect. This is looking so nice. And here we have this impulse, which is not the best, honestly. Not the best. Like, it's a little bit too choppy compared to the others. And then it pulls back. Let's see. The 50 is probably going to be somewhere over here, so that's still valid. And I take the trade. And is this a -1, or do I reduce risk over here? Let me see. Oh, it's a BE from below. I see, I see. So what that means is I didn't reduce risk yet, but then it went lower over here, and as it went over here, I tried to get out at break even. I set my TP to 0, basically, and I'm hoping that it's going to tap me out, and it does. So that's kind of nice. But honestly, this entry is not the best. Sorry, that's not what I was supposed to draw. This one. This is not the best. Like, this should be way more impulsive. This is a bit choppy. I don't like it too much. So probably should have avoided this trade altogether. So yeah, good momentum over here. Definitely good momentum over here. And this, I wouldn't call it perfect. I'm gonna call it good, but maybe it's not even that. Like, maybe it's not even good. I'm gonna call it questionable. Questionable DMB at best. So I don't know. Should I call this a mistake? Like, so ultimately, I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess it all comes down to one simple question: would I want to take this trade 1,000 times? And the answer to that is like everything is looking great up to the 10 second, and the 10 second it's not necessarily bad. It does leave some inefficiency behind as well. Look, I'm gonna say it's good. Okay, I'm gonna say it's good. It's not perfect, but it's good. I would probably take it again. Take it a couple of times, couple of 10 times. Pay attention to it, and if it proves to not be the best, I will I will refine my rules even more. But for now, I'm kind of happy with it. So good context, good momentum, and questionable entry. Questionable why? Because it's choppy and weak. Yeah. Management wise, yeah, that was perfect. Yeah, we're done. Okay, and then we have a trade on Bitcoin. Let's take a look. So Bitcoin, right? This is the stage one that we previously had. We broke out of it, and here we start chopping a little bit, creating a bigger MMB or a reaccumulation, whatever. This is the high, and here on the 6 minute, once again, we find ourselves in this territory where it pumps a shitload. It pumps so much, and I'm always wondering, like, isn't it overextended? I'm not sure, but taking a look here at the 1 minute. So initially there was this impulse that pulled back, stayed in the upper 50, stayed in the upper 50, stayed in the upper 50. This could very easily have another pop higher, and that's what I was betting on over here. And on the 10 second, what do we have? On the 10 second, we have a beautiful stage 2 over here that looks like somebody pressed the buy button. So ideally, I would get the continuation, right? And here it pulls back below the 20, and big impulsive move, shallow pullback, and I'm expecting the continuation. And these are 3 candles. All I need is 2. 3 is even better. So I would say this was a good entry. Here, maybe there was an argument to be made that I could have reduced risk here, but I didn't. And I think that's okay. So this is a loss, but ultimately I think it's a pretty nice loss. Yeah, I think it's nice. So this is still part of the overall stage 1 expansion. There's a good momentum as well. Very good momentum over here. Very good momentum over here. And I would say this was a good DMB. I wonder what could have been better. Maybe a slightly deeper flush. I'm not sure. Overall, I think this was good. Yeah, I think this was good. Okay. Good context, good momentum, good momentum, good entry. Overall good. Management. There was nothing to do management-wise. Okay, and that leads me to the last trade, which was another Bitcoin trade. So it looks exactly the same on the 1 hour. So let's see what's actually different here. The only thing that's different, okay, we can see that on the 10 second over here. So this was my original entry. Then it fell down, right? And I assume a stage 1 over here. But then I see this impulsive move, and it pulls back, and I wonder, this thing, the 50 is probably somewhere over here, so it just wicks it. That's okay in my book, and it's in the prime area of the 1020. And yeah, I think this is nice. This is nice. If it breaks above here, I would expect something like this, and I can probably see it on the 10 seconds over here what it did. Oh, I didn't fill that in. Too bad. Well, yeah, but that's pretty much what it does, right? Taps me in and like in a pretty choppy, draggy way, just continues higher. That's at least what I can read here from the 1 minute. And it goes to like 4R or whatever, and there was not enough juice, and it comes back to break even. So yeah, I think this was a nice trade as well. I like it. Good momentum, good momentum. And I would say this was it perfect? Mm, actually, let me see. What are we judging here? We're judging this entire impulse, I guess, from here. And this would be the 50. This didn't pull back that deep. This is still shallow. That's nice. This impulse, the 50 would be somewhere over here. I don't know. I think this was good. I mean, it's kind of like buy stopping a stage 1, which is not really my entry. If it was supposed to be my entry, it would be something along these lines. So this is a little bit different than how I normally enter, but I still thought it's a very, very nice entry, and it makes a lot of sense. So I'm gonna call it good. Not necessarily perfect, but still, it's good. I think this was nice. So, good context, good momentum, right, yes. And 10-second, it's a little bit questionable. I will say it's not my setup. Not my setup. I'm gonna pay attention to this a little bit more. I think it was good though. I think it was good. Management wise, yeah, I can't see anything, but it was probably perfect. So I'm gonna call it good. Yep. Okay, and that's all. That is all. So let me take a quick look at. Did I mark it as good? Yeah. Let me take a quick look at the mistakes that I made. So what I can do is I can simply filter out for mistakes. Okay. So I had ugly DMBs, deep pullback, not my setup, and why was this a mistake? Why was this a mistake? Let me see. So it's a jerk dirty trade. Ah, this one. Oh yeah. That was the deep pullback. I see. I should definitely mark that up. Deep pullback. Yes. Deep pullback. What was wrong with this one? That was simply not my setup. And this one. Deep pullback again. Ah, yeah, it's this one. I see. Yeah, that's definitely a deep pullback. I do not like this at all. I see. So that was pretty much my biggest mistake this week. Like overall, I have to say I'm very, very happy with how I traded, except for not taking the 2 wins that I was supposed to. Of course, that sucks. But I thought it's gonna be much worse, honestly. Like I have how many again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have 15 trades here, and I only have 3 mistakes. That's that's amazing. That's honestly like one of the best performances ever. I really like it a lot. Like yeah, overall the situation is not too good. Like if I take a look at my data over here, like I had a +6, and how many losses? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losses. Okay, 7 losses and 2.6 in comps. So minus 9.6 plus 6. So minus 3.6. But if I had the other 12, I would be up like 9R, which would be amazing. But you know, shit happens. I'm still learning. I'm glad it's happening now during the forward test, but definitely my number one. Well, I have a couple of lessons here. The number one thing is this new refinement that whenever an impulse pulls back deeper than half of it, deeper than the 50%, it's going to disqualify all of the follow-up trades in that range, right? I'm done with it. I don't want to trade it. And second of all, and this is probably like as an umbrella rule, this is one of the biggest ones that I want to follow. It's better to take additional minus ones and not miss your winners than to not take them and miss your winners. And this is especially true for someone who has a lower win rate system like I do. Like my win rate here is not completely accurate because so here it says my win rate is 16%. That's not accurate for one reason, and that is uh, I include this loss every week for the commissions, right? I account for 0.2 R commissions every time. And we already have 18 weeks, so that's an additional 18 losses, right? So that should not be counted in here. So that's why it's not so much. So instead of having 92 losses, I should simply have what 90, 80, 74 losses. And that would make this different. That would be maybe like 18, 19% or whatever. I guess I could quickly calculate that if I want to. So what was it? 18, right? So 74 divided by, and 236 minus 18 is 218. Whoa, what? Oh, that's the loss rate. That's the loss rate. So yeah, my loss rate is showing 39, right? But actually it's 33. And my win rate therefore is 218. So 38 divided by 218, and that's 17.4. So yeah, it's not that different. I thought it would be more than that. But even then, the point stands. If you have a lower win rate, like 20% and less, your wins are going to be much more rare and much more crucial for your equity curve. And it really hurts if you don't take them. So it's super important for me when I'm on the lower time frame to be able to execute with confidence and to just execute on my rules. It doesn't matter if I had some losses before or not. If it meets the rules, I just need to take it. Simple as that. Because this sucks. This hurts. If this happened on a live account, I would probably be a bit demoralized. But right now, I'm not. I'm happy with it. It's all good. I'm glad it's happening now that I can learn from it without any cost. Anyway, what went well? I followed momentum really well. I'm just gonna write it here. Really well. I love that. So good. Uh, the biggest mistakes happened once again, I think, on my E. And I didn't trade any weak stage twos this time. The stage twos were really nice, which is awesome. And my biggest mistake this time was that I traded a few entries that pulled back deeper than 50%. Okay, so traded after deep pullbacks. I didn't trade any stage ones. That was good. My E's were generally really good. Very few mistakes. I generally like how this week went. So I'm just gonna go quickly over the results here. So how many losses? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 losses. Spread losses, I didn't have any, I believe. Or did I? Let me check. Yeah, no spread losses this time. Cool. How many break evens? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 break evens. And only one win. So that means 12, 13 trades. So that's -7, -7 plus 6 and minus 13 times 0.2. And that is plus 6 is -1 and minus 2.6. So it's minus 3.6. So that's my final result, minus 3.6 R. And now let's take a look what it would look like if I didn't make any mistakes. So regarding losses, 1, this was a mistake. 2, this was a mistake. This was a mistake. 3, 4, 4 losses. How many BEs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 BEs. That stays the same. Can I? Hello? Okay. And 3 wins. So that's gonna be how many trades? 4, 7, 12 trades. Right. It's because I took additional 2 and yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so it's -4 plus 18 minus 12 times 0.2. And how much is that? 18 minus 4, that's 14, minus 2.4, that's 12, that's 11.6. So that's a huge, huge difference. Huge. And what sucks the most is that literally, like, the only 2 trades, I know I said it before, I'll say it again, the 2 trades that I didn't take ended up being 2 winners. That's just bullshit. But yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I don't mind. So let me just do this as the last thing this week. Why is everything so high, man? All right. Boop. So what to focus on next week? I still don't want to trade after week stage 2s, but most importantly, don't trade deep pullbacks. Okay? That's going to be very important for me. Don't trade after stage 2s, and do not hesitate. Do not hesitate. Hesitation fucking sucks. So, gonna copy it over to here. Jeez. Okay. And this is going to be my main focus for next week. But overall, if it wasn't for those silly missed trades, I'm generally very happy with how I executed. Those few mistakes that I made are very easily fixable. I have a new rule that's going to pretty much eliminate these mistakes for me as long as I'm able to stick to it, of course, which I believe I will be. And yeah, I'm very happy in general. Okay, so I bet this was pretty long, wasn't it? Whew, hour 20. Okay. Well, that's how long it takes, man, to go over my trades. That's how much care I put into it. So yeah, I hope someone might find this useful. If not, that's okay too. And I'll see you next week in the markets. Peace.